Section 1. The Shadow of Auschwitz, a Reckoning with Modernity. The Holocaust, the systematic annihilation of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime, stands as a chilling testament to the fragility of civilization. It was not a barbaric anomaly in the course of human history, but rather a product of modernity itself. This genocide, meticulously planned and executed, compels us to confront the dark undercurrents of our own age, the very forces that propelled Europe into an abyss of unprecedented horror. Auschwitz, the epicenter of this horror, serves as a haunting reminder of the consequences of unchecked hatred and the failure of human values. The industrialized, bureaucratic nature of the Holocaust, far from being a contradiction of modernity, revealed the terrifying efficiency with which modern tools could be used for extermination. The Holocaust forces us to question the very foundations of our civilization. It compels us to confront the unsettling reality that the Enlightenment values of reason, progress, and humanism, which underpinned modern Europe, were not sufficient to prevent such an atrocity. The spectre of Auschwitz continues to loom large over the 20th and 21st centuries, a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity and the ever-present potential for evil to resurface. We must grapple with its legacy to understand not only our past, but also the fragility of our present and the importance of safeguarding the values we hold dear. Section 2. The unthinkable assault on the pillars of civilization. The Holocaust was not merely a crime against humanity, it was a profound assault on the very pillars of Western civilization. It shattered the fundamental tenets of capitalism, liberalism, nationalism, democracy, and Christianity, exposing the vulnerability of these systems to the corrosive forces of hatred and intolerance. Capitalism, with its emphasis on efficiency and profit, found itself warped and twisted, serving the machinery of genocide. The pursuit of economic gain superseded moral considerations, as corporations and individuals alike became complicit in the exploitation and extermination of Jewish people. Liberalism, founded on individual rights and freedoms, proved woefully inadequate in the face of totalitarian aggression. The very institutions designed to protect individual liberty were co-opted or dismantled, paving the way for the persecution of an entire people based solely on their ethnicity. Nationalism, intended to foster a sense of shared identity and belonging, was twisted into a tool of exclusion and hatred. The Nazi regime manipulated nationalist sentiments, turning neighbor against neighbor and fueling the flames of anti-Semitism that ultimately consumed Europe. Democracy, designed to ensure representation and accountability, proved susceptible to demagoguery and the manipulation of fear. The rise of the Nazi Party demonstrated the fragility of democratic institutions when confronted with charismatic leaders who exploit societal divisions and undermine the rule of law. Christianity, with its emphasis on love, compassion, and the sanctity of human life, found itself either silent or complicit in the face of unimaginable evil. The Holocaust stands as a chilling indictment of the failure of Christian values to prevent or even meaningfully condemn the systematic slaughter of millions. Section 3. Complicity in the machine, the betrayal of reason. One of the most unsettling aspects of the Holocaust is the active role played by Europe's educated elite, those entrusted with upholding the values of reason, knowledge, and progress. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, academics, and other professionals, instead of resisting the Nazi regime, often became willing participants in its machinery of death. Physicians, sworn to heal and alleviate suffering, betrayed their oath, conducting horrific medical experiments on helpless victims and overseeing the selection process that determined who would live and who would die. Their knowledge, twisted by ideology, became a tool of torture and extermination. Lawyers tasked with upholding justice and the rule of law helped draft and legitimize the Nuremberg laws, stripping Jews of their citizenship and paving the way for their systematic persecution. Their expertise, instead of defending the vulnerable, was used to create a legal framework for discrimination and ultimately genocide. Engineers, responsible for building a better future, lent their skills to the construction of gas chambers and crematoria, the very instruments of mass murder. Their ingenuity, instead of improving the human condition, was harnessed to facilitate the efficient extermination of millions. Academics, entrusted with the pursuit of truth and knowledge, provided intellectual justification for the Nazi ideology, propagating racist theories and legitimizing the persecution of Jews. Their research, instead of illuminating the world, was used to darken it, fueling the flames of hatred and intolerance. The complicity of these educated professionals demonstrates that knowledge and expertise, devoid of moral compass, can be easily corrupted and transformed into instruments of unimaginable evil. It serves as a stark reminder that education, while essential, is not a guarantee against barbarity. Beyond good and evil, the moral abyss of the Holocaust. The Holocaust confronts us with a profound moral abyss, challenging our understanding of good and evil, right and wrong. It forces us to grapple with the uncomfortable reality that human beings are capable of unimaginable cruelty and that the veneer of civilization is terrifyingly thin. The perpetrators of the Holocaust were not monsters in the traditional sense. They were not inherently evil beings driven by some primal urge to kill. They were ordinary people, neighbors, colleagues, even friends, who, through a gradual process of indoctrination and desensitization, became complicit in a system of mass murder. The Nazi regime excelled in normalizing the unthinkable, gradually eroding moral boundaries and creating a climate of fear and indifference. Propaganda, censorship, and the constant threat of violence silenced dissent and created a society where conformity became a matter of survival. The Holocaust demonstrates the insidious nature of evil, its ability to creep into our lives, disguised as normalcy, until it consumes us entirely. It highlights the importance of vigilance, critical thinking, and the courage to resist conformity, even when it is dangerous to do so. The ghosts of our past, echoes in the present. The Holocaust may seem like a distant horror, confined to the annals of history, but its echoes reverberate in the present, reminding us that the forces that gave rise to such barbarity are still very much alive. Xenophobia, racism, anti-Semitism, and other forms of intolerance continue to plague our world, often finding fertile ground in times of economic uncertainty, political instability, and social upheaval. The rise of nationalist populism, with its scapegoating of minorities and its disdain for democratic norms, serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of our institutions and the ease with which hatred can be exploited for political gain. The language used to dehumanize and demonize entire groups of people today often eerily mirrors the rhetoric employed by the Nazi regime. The Holocaust teaches us that silence in the face of injustice is not neutrality, it is complicity. We have a moral obligation to speak out against all forms of intolerance, to challenge prejudice and discrimination wherever we encounter it. We must remember that the victims of the Holocaust were not statistics. They were human beings with families, dreams, and aspirations, just like us. The lessons of the Holocaust are not confined to the past. They are urgent and necessary reminders for the present and the future. We must remain vigilant, informed, and engaged in defending the values of tolerance, respect, and human dignity. A reckoning with history, the imperative of remembrance. The Holocaust stands as a stark warning from history, a reminder of the fragility of civilization and the ever-present potential for human beings to inflict unimaginable suffering upon one another. Remembrance is not merely an act of commemoration, it is a vital act of resistance against the forces of hatred and intolerance. Remembering the Holocaust means confronting the darkness in our own history, acknowledging the complicity of individuals and institutions in perpetrating and enabling such atrocities. It requires us to engage in critical self-reflection, examining our own prejudices and biases, and challenging the systems that perpetuate inequality and injustice. Education plays a crucial role in ensuring that the memory of the Holocaust is kept alive for future generations. By teaching about the Holocaust in all its complexity, we can help young people develop critical thinking skills, empathy, and the courage to stand up against injustice. Remembering the Holocaust is not about dwelling in the past. It is about learning from it to create a better future. It is a call to action, a reminder that we all have a responsibility to build a world where such atrocities are never repeated.